Hi, and welcome to Watercolor with Sonia Mocnik. Today I'm going to be painting some Oregon grape foliage that I'm interested in trying because there are some beautiful colors that I want to work on here, here, here. Look at that beautiful light yellowish green, more of a medium sap green, maybe even dark hooker green, more like a Terre Vert or a Chromium green, and of course similar with the berries too. And then there's some really rich dark, maybe Perylene greens down at the bottom with some browns in between, which I'm going to try and use burnt sienna. Anyways, so I'm working on 10 by 14 Fabriano cold press paper. It's extra white. I have been loving this paper to try and work with. But today I'm going to try something a little different, and that's why I'm doing a video on it. It's because I want to try and have it wet on wet. We'll see. I'm going to spray the whole area, and we're going to try and do, even though the image is quite dark, try and incorporate that into, I don't know about a looser painting, but we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to start off with my a little bit of a yellow, Aureolin Yellow. I want to do a little bit, I'm just going to find the area here. I believe it's I'm just going to pop in a little bit here. And there's a nice slight bit down here. I'll let that incorporate into the background even, because there's going to be some background in there that's going to need a little bit of darks and yellows in there just to warm it up. And then these are a few there. Bring that down here. Let's pull that out here. Hopefully you can see that. You know, we could even take that into the stem here. I do see some brown down below here. I don't know if I actually did anything here. I left it pretty much just trying to, it's in here. Right in there and down here. So let's let that escape and see what happens there. Now I've got some worms there. I see some worms up here too, so let's pop in a bit of color in there. Have fun with that. Spread that around a bit. Okay, so we've got some nice worms, quite a bit of warm up here, maybe a little bit warmer down there. Down below here. Okay, so enough for the worms, although there can be some nice worms there. Now we're going to get into a bit of the Chromium. I've got, the Terre Vert first. Okay, so on my little sample sheet here, I did the Terre Vert here, and I said more Terre Vert here than Chromium. So let's try it. I've done some sampling. I'll show you the sampling in just a sec here. I was doing some drawing. There's the sampling right there, so we'll see how that works out. And we're going to pop that in here. We'll do it, I'm going to say we'll do it very light, but I'm not sure because I don't know how it, you know, it tends to really dry light, although I notice this paper takes the color so well. So we'll see how that impacts it. Because some of my beautiful dark colors have just saturated, and just amazing what's come out as a result. Now you notice it's wetter in the center and drier closer to the edge, so we'll see if that has an impact too. Now I'm not trying with my Petit Gris brush to, you know, do that special tilt with the side of the brush or anything. I'm just painting as I feel like it. Maybe I'll come back in afterwards and be a little bit better about that. Now we got that one too, and I said Chromium on this one, so let's try the whoa, that's dark lush Chromium. That is not what I exactly wanted there, although if I pop that in here, that'll look good. And if I can get it underneath a little bit more here, that'll be better too, because there's some dark greens underneath here. Well, let's try and lift that, because that was way too dark, and as a matter of fact it's better over here, back here. You know, the one thing I didn't do, and maybe I should have, I was trying to capture some of the lights and I'm probably going to have to lift that because right now I have not. I was going to put some masking fluid on and I forgot. So maybe, just maybe we'll have to try that a little later. Okay, let's move that around a bit and get that not quite so loosely set up. Okay, now having done that, being quite surprised with that chromium. Wow. You just never know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now I want that color is too. It's good up here, and I'm just gonna do a little bigger leaf back there, just loosely. Trying to see what I've got here. It could actually work here. Let's try that. See, the chromium has a bit more of a filler in it. Yeah, a bit of white. So right away it's not as transparent as any of the other colors that I use normally. But it certainly is fun to play with. Look at that. Let's try it over here. See what happens as it makes contact with the yellow. Let's see here. I want that, definitely want that yellow in there, and I do want it darker underneath here. Just trying to see if there's any lights. Trying to pick up those little bits. This is not only is it called Oregon grape, it's called a few other names. And I've just got it listed on Mohonia. And I just love it because it has it like a holly. It's got those little, but it's not the same shape of a leaf as a holly. So let's put some more leaves out here. Now, I could do that just by pulling that out like that with the flat of the brush. It's still too wet to get any more shape in there. Alrighty. So back to where we were up at the top here. I'm going to go with a little bit more. Let's do some Terre into the. Hopefully it's not too wet. Let's do it some into those nice berries. The berries end up turning purple, like a grape. They do have a bit of a kind of film on them that tends to be a little bit greenish, bluish, like I've got a tinge right now. The flowers are that yellow color. And when I saw these at the, and you can see the picture again here, here we are, at the community center, I thought it was a great opportunity to paint them. Noticing the light is reflecting off here, just wondering if I'm getting enough in the picture here. Let me pull it up a bit more. Okay, let's hope that stays. Alright, so just trying to get where the berries are. That's mixing up and playing around in there. Okay, now just trying to see, now these are more of a that greenish shade, I believe, but a little bit more on the sap green side. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try my sap green again, very carefully. Just a little bit in here. Definitely, okay. That's too green for that, but over here where I have the yellow, let's try and apply some of it. Trying to see my drawing. I only did very faint marks. Here I did a bit more specific marking. So I've got to try and watch it. As soon as I get too close to the front of the, or the tip of this brush, I have less control of my movement of my drawing or painting. So I want to try and avoid that, get a little bit better control of that. That's a bit dark there. Try and bring it. It's still too wet on these. So I'll have to wait. Now that's darker there. That's that could be a little darker here. Just trying to see. I think this is actually another leaf underneath there. Here, not sure. There should be a few more leaves in here. Berries? No. And some other darker leaves there. Okay, so these can also be the sap green at the moment. Let's see how they work here. Oop, that's strong. And this, these are a little darker with a little bit, well, I'm going to do them in the chromium again, and then I'm going to add a little bit of darker to that, trying to keep the sap in here. Oh, that's a little too strong. These are a bit more colored, so I don't want to lose that. I'm trying to see what this one is underneath here. I think that's normal. There's some others underneath here. Oh, and that's brown. Okay. I was going to, if I was going to do anything, I was going to do a looser, darker leaf behind here. What I think I could do is maybe add, let's see, I've got nice lights, maybe add another set of just kind of, let's try and bring them up a bit bigger. Just an idea, a hint of it back there. Maybe a little bit more over here. Anyway, some lights so that we have them. Now we've got to get back into the bit of darks here as it dries. So I said I was going to use the Terre again. Or no, I was going to use chromium there. So a light bit of chromium, and let's try and see if we can get... That's dark, that's brown. So the chromium comes around here. And there's just these white lines, really light. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to capture them or not without any masking. We'll let these dry first, and then we'll go back in with the other color that I would use. This is brown, like I mentioned. Okay, not a whole lot there. All right. That could be a sap green too. I didn't notice that. But here, do I go with? I'm going to go with a light Perylene. Just try that out, because I can always soften it up with some sap green. Just got to watch where those shadows are, those sleeves. Where is it? Trying to find out what that one, which one, oh, there it is. There, and there, and now I'll come back in with a little bit more of the color. And as it looks like this, a little bit here. That one may be behind here a little bit. If anything, I think I'll put in Hooker's Green Dark. What does that do? Let's see. So it gives it a little hint more of a cooler green. a whole lot. I think it's still too wet. And underneath here is some really nice browns there. What are we going to do here, up here? Because we can leave it the brown, a little bit darker green, and yeah, fuse out, why not? And then that gives us a bit of a light space versus the dark, and then some more darks down here. Let's try that. Wow, this is the wettest I've got this paper, and I really see it. This is on a block, so I really see it oscillating quite a bit. I'm so surprised. But that's how you learn about each of the different types of papers you use. Okay. Just trying to remember where I see bits. And whether I want it any darker or not. I think I do here, but it's still white wet. At least this one. The other one I'm not so sure. It was quite light. What I maybe want is more afterwards dark around it. Okay. So now we actually have to, well, let's see here. That's not bad. Okay, so now we can start working. It's drying. I start to see it drying. This is still wet down below, but if I'm very careful, I can work up on this area. Now, we were using the Terre here, so I'm going back to the Terre, and I'm going to mix it up in my palette here. Let's clean this up first. Okay, so this is the Terre, we're going to put that in there and get a nice mix going here. I have a lot of water in the brush, so what's happening is I'm getting more water than pigment, and that can be a problem. So, let's see now. I could test it. Of course, I don't have any proper paper to test it. Where's my testing paper here? I don't want to use that one. Let's try another piece of paper. You know, I just had one. Can you believe it? I just had it. It was sitting right here. Oh dear. Okay. I'm just going to use my other paper here. I just want to test that out here. That's nice. Okay. So carefully, we're going to start probably on the bottom here, because we can get a nice, I know I'm going to see that. Alright, we're going to get a very nice light, well in actual fact there's a bit of a dark center here too, dark center, and then just a few little hints of dark and around here. Now to me that's going to create an edge and stuff, so we've got to deal with how much is there. So I'm just cleaned off my brush, and now I'm just going to soften everything up. Because I did find last time when this happened, it makes a really bad watermark. And then you got to go in and re-tidy it up and do all sorts of stuff. So, live and learn. Now I'm not going to go quite as close to the edge as I thought I was, because I can see here that if I'm careful I can leave some of those whites that I want. Here I'm just going to soften that all up here. I'm not happy with the pencil marks right now, but we'll hopefully be able to make them disappear a bit more. Because I can go in and I can erase. It takes a bit of time. You certainly couldn't do it now, but it can be done. Okay, so that's dry. let's put a little bit of water on here and see if that makes a difference. Back into the Terre. Okay. It's definitely shadow here, a lot darker there. So I can add just another layer, or I could go right into my Terre and try and darken it up that way. Let's try that. Noticing I've got it too high up. It needs to go out a bit more there. Okay. Now the next thing to do would be to go right away into Perylene and just darken it up right on the side there and let it spread around. Try and soften that up now. Also trying to see exactly how those little indentations are. Okay. So on this leaf is actually, there's some nice shadow right in here, so I'll just take over that color and just bring it in, and then do a little bit here as well, and then we'll add a little bit more green, maybe. Quite like that. Although I am seeing a little bit more lining, more than I expected. I'll show you. See, it's quite, even though it's quite tough to see, there's, look at all those extra things there. We certainly don't have those edges. Now I can do that with the dark afterwards, or I can do that with the dark now, I don't know. Let's stick to the dark later, keep it light now. A little bit more Terre here. And it comes out here a bit more, and actually around here. Let's come back to this one and try and darken it a bit. Okay, oops. It is really wet in some places still. Dark there. Wetting it, I don't know. Still running around. Lighten that up. And this kind of just goes right into underneath here. And that should soften it up now. Comes out into here. I haven't got enough on my brush. Okay, now let's just see here. Don't want to do the stems yet because the stems are almost white. I think I'd like to try doing a bit of background, and I haven't decided what the color is going to be. Oh, I did say burnt sienna, so let's bring the, oh, burnt orange. Let's do the burnt orange. Alright. There are more leaves down here, so I don't want to do the burnt orange there, but we'll do the burnt orange around here. And I can actually go right into that leaf. Whether I'll see that leaf again, I don't know. Now we've got to try and see, yeah, there is a little bit of white, so we've got to try and go around that. Still wet enough that it's moving around nicely, which is good. Wasn't sure how that was going to work. Okay, oh, gotta be careful. So now is the tough part where I have to get in and I have to try and keep the whites a bit. I don't even have to worry about how even, because it's quite uneven there. It's a leaf, so I better watch it. I missed some stuff there, it looks like. Okay. Whew. So it's a lot darker around that leaf. That leaf has got some nice color in it right now. I think I need to just drop in a bit more burnt orange. A few places there. Let that just play around. It's definitely darker all around these touches of... Okay. So if I was to bring... Oh, go in the dark already. Oh, I don't know if I want to do that. Okay, let's not do that. Let's work around the other parts here. And this leaf here, let's see if we can get a bit of color going here. This one too. There's a couple underneath here. I think that should be more yellow. Let's try and switch this around so you can see a bit more. Add a bit more yellow in here if I can. There is something down here in between these berries. I'd like to try and pop a little bit more yellow in there. Alright, I'll have to leave that. Now, at this point, I see all the choppiness and everything that's going on, so if I keep touching this right now, I'm not going to do myself any help. So I think I have to let this dry and come back to it. So thanks, we will come back. Hi and welcome back. There will be some noise, I'm sure, from outside because I've got the windows open. It's quite a warm day. So let's get back to trying and working on our imaging here. What I wanted to do was, I noticed that I hadn't put any of the brown or burnt orange in into this lower area of my painting. So I haven't wetted or anything, I'm just using my brush to get some of that color in there. What I was watching was a demo done yesterday, and somebody mentioned that burnt orange, quinacridone burnt orange, is considered a neutral or red, which I thought was quite interesting. So in other words, we do have cool blues with the phthalo blue, and we have the yellows, and we have a little bit of red, so all three primary colors in different variations. So I thought that was interesting to make note of. Now I'm just going to go right down here and let that go all the way down and soften out, because I also noticed that some of this is quite a light burnt orange, like really light burnt orange. So I can just pop that in around this area. I won't leave any whites particularly, except for around the stems and stuff. I'm probably going to leave a little bit of white there. Alright, so I've got a little bit more of our colors set up. Not perfectly yet, but we will get there. I think I'd like to see, because I'm looking at, you might be able to see out of the corner, just a little bit of those leaves in there. So they're not really, they're more of this color here that I'm showing right now with the light burnt orange. They're not like they are up at the top there. Alrighty. I think I'm going to continue working because the leaves are going to get quite interesting if I do some more of the background. So I think I'm going to start with this, I'm going to start with that lower corner. There's the greens, there's some nice darks in there. This is wet right now, so I don't really want to start wet and wet over here. Okay. So there's a really nice way of getting a lovely dark, which is burnt orange. And if I go with the Perylene green, oh, it's just it gets into a really, really dark brown, which is kind of what I'm seeing here. So let's carefully now work in one of the areas. Let's just see which leaf I've got here. So these two are these two over here. Oh, you can't see it. These two here. Then we've got this one, and then below that is some more dark green and some. So let's see here. This is the brown. Let's try and start by, of course, I went right into the area. I said, no, this is too wet. I can't do this. It just is so attractive to do those kinds of things. I don't know why. All right. Let's go over here. There was some green underneath here, but there's brown over here. So let's try and see if we can work. Now, what I try and do is, if I want to tip on my brush, I create that color and then I roll the brush to get that tip in there, and for some reason I didn't have it very well. So I'm now going to try and come in carefully, leave just a hint of white around those little items, and fill in this area. I'm trying to see too if there was a little bit of tips that I didn't pick up, so we've got to try and pick them up. I may have to come in with a smaller brush. Yeah, so I should have a small brush on hand. I have the really small brush, which is the Micro Maestro. And I need to pull this up so it's comfortable for me. Not much I can see in the picture here. Alright. So we know that they kind of come in and come out. And the same here. So I'll bring it a little bit into here to get that shadow. Here too I need to pull it out. There we go. Trying to see where the stem is now. Okay, so I see here, I can bring this around. Just gotta watch my lines here. And I can bring it around here. Bring it in here. There's a leaf there. And then finish it off here, here. Okay. Put that in and away, and now let's see if we can pull in and actually work with these leaves properly here. So we've got all that there. Trying to keep some of that white on the edge because it's really lovely when you see it. Look at how fast it's drying. This is going to be tough because I'm already noticing real difficulty with temperatures. There goes the lawnmowers. Not enough. You have to think like you're drawing and getting those special things in, and it's so hard. Okay. Now let's try and pull it down here. And a bit more over here. So I'm going to have to come closer. Put my brush back here. Because it's not going to work otherwise. It's drying too fast. Okay, so we've got a bit. A bit. Thinking, how the heck am I going to get the rest of this done if it's going to be that difficult? This is drying fairly nicely. And actually, it's just the right touch. So let's try in here carefully. A little bit, pay more attention to this a little bit more. And maybe I don't have to use small. Just trying to look here. There's a bit of white on the right, not so much on the left, on the right. Gotta try and keep it. Inside here, let's look. Hardly anything. You just see a little bit of the dark there by the leaf. I may have to come in back in with a bit of gouache, I'm not sure, or I may have to lift. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around the other leaves because I want that nice kind of light texture. Okay, around here, around there. Where's the other one? Right there, I think. Here, trying to capture this. That part's good. Now I'm just trying to figure out what, and this is another line of something here. It's for the dark green. Alright, I'm going to come back in with a little bit more of my mixture of the Aureolin green and the burnt orange because I want it nice and dark in here. And this we'll be kind of trying to emulate this in some of the other areas as well. Eventually I want to get some of that dark right in the center because it is that dark. Oh, that turned out nice back there. Alright, let's see here. This is going to have dark leaf underneath here, so let's see if we can just come around a bit. Here, here I can't decide. Got the light one going in, got the dark one coming out. There is a bit more dark underneath. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to come in, I think, with... I'm going to come in with the Terre for a minute. I just want to see what that does. Not a darn thing. It looks almost like the color that I've just made. Alright. Winsor Green Yellow shade. Let's try Hooker Green. If I want it to actually come out as leaves, it's going to be really hard. Get back in again. Well, okay, let's try on its own Perylene green mixed with some Hooker's green. No, sap green. Let's try the sap green. Let's see if that'll make it. No, that's not doing a darn thing. So we need to have some phthalo blue in here and see if we get some of that. Yeah. The phthalo blue green shade just picks up that nice dark green aspect of, and I can, here we go. Watch this. Hopefully it'll work. Yeah. See how nice and rich that is? That's terrific. And that's what I want before I put the brown down. I just got to try and get that design of the flower. I mean, the leaf. Oh. I'm thinking about the elliptical shape. Oh my goodness, it's so hard. Okay, another one comes down underneath here. And then trying to capture little bits around here. That's not bad. Another one comes around here. So let's do the elliptical shape. And if I was really good, I could maybe have got that nice little line in the center. Okay, and then I'll have another one down here. And I'm just trying to see what the... It's even darker underneath here. Well, let's add some of this to there. Oh yeah, look at that. That's great. Okay, ooh, those turn out just lovely. Now, what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit of a line just on the side there, and hopefully I will, because it's so wet, it'll lift and separate. Yeah, we dream, right? Not bad though. So if I was to take Let's just see. If I was to take my little brush and just go up here, it might just give me a bit of a lift in the center. I have the tissue in my hand and I'm still... Oh. Okay, we're going to switch here for a moment and we'll get more card coming. Okay, we're back again. And now I am working on some of these beautiful dark leaves that I want just underneath here. I see them kind of coming through here as well. This has been a combination of Perylene green, and then phthalo blue, green shade. And now I'm going to bring in some that I want underneath these leaves here. And I'm just trying to look exactly where do they come in. So they come in, I'm just trying to see, they come in, I've got to make sure I keep the weight for that center area. I'm trying to see where that weight is. Okay, and I'm trying to see also if there's any weight on this side. So they come in around here. You hardly see it. There's a kind of a stem underneath there. Okay, and then... Oh, I see another one underneath here where that little bit of green is. It kind of goes differently, it goes like this. Okay, now I'm trying to see how I painted this and how it's not doing what it should. Okay, let's see here. Did a lousy job of painting. Got that. And it actually goes around this other leaf. Kind of hangs there. And it's dark underneath with a little bit of white there. Okay, so I've captured a little bit of that. Now I'm just trying to figure out where I want to, if I want to bring it in further. I need to breathe too. That's the hardest part. Because you see how light those are popping up now, much better than I expected. So we're going to leave them, and we can always add highlights afterwards. Okay. Oh dear. Just trying to figure out where they go. Because there's actually some under here too. And then it gets really dark, right? Let's see. Okay. What I need to do would make it easier for me if I mask some of this so I could just go over the other parts, but I'm going to try and be really brave and just slowly do the right kind of color. Oh. Okay. Back to here. We want it that similar dark underneath. So again, Perylene green and burnt orange, Quinacridone burnt orange. And here we go again. So right in between here. Just looking around the leaves, how dark it got. It got quite dark. Okay. And now here, all right. I didn't quite get the pattern because what happens is they're supposed to be back to back leaves, and it didn't quite. So we're going to make this around here. Carefully. Just leave that white line for the stem. Okay, and now we're going to come out here. Kind of negative painting, but ooh, it's tough. Trying to remember where that branch is going to be compared to the lines that I see. Okay, breathe again. Wow. A little bit of extra color in some of those areas, make it a little bit more varied. Oops, I gotta be careful there. Alright, you can really see them popping up now, which is fantastic. I have to take a break. It's tiring and I don't want to mess up too much, so I'm just going to take a moment and we'll be back. Okay, I took a quick break, and what I'm doing now is I'm going to use my Peebo whiteout masking fluid. I just have to shake it up a bit. I'm going to find some of the lines that I see in my picture, and I'm going to wipe them out before I forget them. And it should make it easier for me to paint and not have to be constantly checking. So, one of the lines, first of all, is right here. So I just press down and then I just activate the fluid, and I just have to look carefully. There it is, it's on there. Right through here, right into there. And then right across from each of those little stems is a bit of white too. So we just want to put that in there, make sure that I don't touch those. Okay. Now, I see another one here. Oh, but that's the actual stem that has to be colored. Okay, now here, right across there, there's another something stem back there. I see something here too. And now let's look carefully. This stem comes along here. We've done that. Now I just need to see if I need to block a little bit of every one of those. Okay. Now this one, right along here, across, along here, across, right along here, across, 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 going down here. Make it so much easier than trying to do it ahead of time. Okay, so now we have one that goes up here, crosses, 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 then another one that's up above it or down below it, I'm not sure which, goes in there. Now, also we have this lovely one here. I'm just going to go right down there and cross that out, but I'm also seeing there's some nice whites in here and I don't want to lose them, so let's try, and I don't know if I've got enough. Yeah, it looks like it. It's coming off. Okay. I want to just make sure I don't miss some of those lines. Alright. Now with the fruit, we're okay. Aha. Here we go. Is another one. Okay, and across. There's not a lot across, but I just want to make sure I don't miss it. Now, in between here, I noticed even a few berries, so I'm just going to add a couple of small berries in here. With a little bit of a stem coming down. Now, speaking of stem, let's get that stem right in there before I lose all that nice stem work either. Anything else? I noticed that there's some really nice whites around the outside of the leaf. So if I white that out now, I should hopefully have some lighter color, whether I come in later or not. So let's just follow that along and hope for the best. Here too. Here a little bit there. Just don't know because it's so light. This one it's great because it dries really fast and has just enough that you don't have to worry about filling in or having to really check where. Oh, this is important. Okay. So even if I go back in with a darker, we will keep a little bit of this color right on the edge. Of course, you can always paint it back in rather than you've lost it. Okay. So now there's another stem here I see. There's a stem out here too. I just blotted it in. I didn't do a lot of work to add special stuff there. Just trying to look at the berries if I need to maybe give it a bit of whiteout. Alright, so we've got that. Oh, and now that I said that all this I see here, I added in another line of branch here. And so we'll just add a little bit. But it's the other little old plant or something that's out here that I want to get a little bit of lines out. And anywhere here, not much I can do here anymore. We've got pretty much a good dark surrounding. Got that one. Maybe put another line in here. Got enough lines around there. Got the line out here. Question is up here. It's not a lot. You've got the leaf here, right there. You can make a couple of little, you know, masks just so it doesn't get any lighter, or sorry, darker. For little detritus. It's an oak leaf. I'm not particularly want to leave that in there. So I think we're good. Okay. Oops. You're supposed to wash this afterwards when you're finished with it to preserve the nib. Good idea. Pop that back in and close it up. Okay. So back we go to trying to fill in each of those small areas. I think I'm going to go to the top. Nope, I'm actually going to go... This part of the stem here can be a little bit burnt umber. And so very carefully. It's a bit darker on the top. Now, it's got some bits of line, but I don't need to do any more on the left, just on the right here. Okay, so that having been done, I can go back into my dark. Not quite right there, just have to find out where all these leaves are again. So, I see some leaf in here that I have to fill in. Okay, so we've got that now. This one came out nice, but I think we can darken it up a bit. And let's come over here and see now what we're missing in here. Oops. It's interesting because it looks like I actually have two leaves here. Yes, I do. One is a little darker than the other two, and then just looking here if I actually have darker leaves underneath there too. Okay, so going back and adding a little bit more of the phthalo green into it. Let's see if we can add a little bit of that coloring underneath here. It's maybe too phthalo green. We'll see how it dries, because I may need to change that a bit. Okay, now there's some dark bits underneath here. Like it a little darker. Trying to see if this, so it goes green and then goes a little bit brown just beyond that. And I think I can put green underneath here. And we'll leave that for the moment. I do see there's some gap in here somewhere. Now, there's also, but it's really dark. This is dry now? Yeah. Okay, let's add this right in here. Need some brown in there too. Same over here. Now I do see some darks in there, but I'm not going to touch that yet. So now it's going back over here. We've got the green, so we can go back to a bit more dark underneath here. By those berries. Now here is actually another type of green underneath, so we'll do it not too dark. And how far does it come out? Not too far, just about there. Keep touching. A little more green to this. And I'm just trying to figure out, that's green as well. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's starting to pop. This has to be more brown. So here we go. Okay, where is that? I said I whited these out, but you know what? I can't tell, so I'm going to have to just be careful anyways. There's a bit of green there, and then it comes up to brown. Here is brown. Oh, wait a minute. There's that big green leaf, a bit of green there, a bit of green underneath, so it's just in between here. And in here a bit. And behind here. Okay, now, just what did I do here? I need to bring this out. And then try and follow where these leaves are. Okay, and now we're trying to see underneath here. Got that part, and there's actually, I'll put a little dark underneath here. Okay, we need to take a breather again because it's getting too tiring again, and we will add more afterwards. Very addictive. I'm going to start trying to put some of the darks over here. I'll start with a bit of green because I know there's a bit of green underneath, so we'll just add a darker green underneath here. And this is the Perylene with a little bit more phthalo blue, green shade. Let's add a couple more over here. We've got them there. I just don't have them properly. Let's see here. How do we get them? Maybe like that. So hard to get that tip going. Maybe add a bit more in here. Okay, so we've got some nice darks in there. We could probably put a little bit more dark in here. And here. Here too. Okay, now at the back here. What about this area? Yeah. We need it dark in there. So let's just start using the brown again. More in there. And it's over here too. There's a bit up here. Oops, not the right area. More in there, maybe there. Okay. It's definitely darker underneath here. Okay, we're coming around here now. Just got to be careful of these drying leaves that I just did. Soften that corner up. Okay, so in here. In here. Maybe there. Just trying to see where the leaf comes out. Okay, we're going to put it in here. I'll get a little bit more burnt orange in there. I just want for variation. And bring it up in here and watch where those leaves are. Could always add dark green around that if I want to. I see a leaf I missed there. Okay, so we're really starting to get that filled in quite a bit. And I'm now having to think about the darks back there. So I've got to be careful here. We have a very nice leaf that's in here that needs to be isolated. Just trying to see if it's going up this way or it kind of comes down there or dark there. Don't want all that nice brown to go, or the burnt orange to go. So let's try and add a bit around here. There we go. It's much harder than I ever imagined to really look at how this escaped now. But that's actually kind of interesting, so I'll probably keep that. Trying to keep the greens, and so I don't lose the greens, and I get the definition of the leaves the way they're supposed to be. It's going to take a more detailed brush again if I can find it. I'm going to use my 0 for a bit. This was Terre Vert, so I'm going to bring in my Terre Vert and start carefully. I say that, but I think I need to wet it first. Let's start at this end over here. Okay. What I see seems to be a little darkening before the edge of the leaf. I'm just softening it up a bit. And on the left, I'm just trying to see, they're all quite darkish. And then every so often you see kind of a change a little bit where there's an indentation or a movement of the actual leaf. So I'm just going to try and get a bit of shadow in there. Soften it up for now. I really do need a little bit of darker underneath, and I'm just finding that I just don't have the accuracy around the edge of the leaf, which bothers me. Okay. So here goes again. We're going to try and now come in. I think it needs to be a bit bigger. Taking a, I think this is a 4, this is 6. Trying to get it dark enough so that it does appear that the leaves are lifting up a bit more. But I don't want it, even. I want it to look like there's different levels of kind of debris coming around. This should be darker in here because it's the shadow, so I have to come back in with the green a bit afterwards. We're going to leave those nice colors mixing in there because they look great as part of the leaf, but we'll just get some darks going in between here. Never-ending work to get those darks to really pop out. I'll probably spray it to let them blend together a bit afterwards, hoping that it won't mix in too much with the green. A steady in green becomes more of a steady in browns. It's really amazing. Trying to get the depth. Now let's go back in and try that Terre again. Okay. There's light, and then it comes into a bit more dark area here. Up a bit more. Definitely darker right by the vein here. Ooh, and then really dark actually around here. To see that little cooler. Whoa, I just put a lot of phthalo blue on that brush. I was going to say I want to see it a little cooler. So let's just take my brush now and try and soften that up. Just a bit here. It's really dark on the outside there. So let's really get that dark if we can. Which means softening it up as, and then going right back to a nice dark. Going straight to the Perylene green and trying to get that, just that extra dark back there and there. Here too. And then Just need to soften it up, but I'll have to do it. I'm going to do it here too. Let's bring it in here. Probably need to braid it right underneath here too. I just want some water here to soften it up and pull it around. I'm going to bring this back in here like this. Okay, darker in there, darker around there. And just dark on the edge, and then we'll come back in with some water. And a brush. Soften that up. So what I'm seeing here, it's looking good in the video, but I'm seeing it's quite rough in terms of all the little extra lines. So just oops. Guess what color I had on there. So this will work, softening it just with some water and just letting it all spread out. Okay, that works. So we're going to do the same thing here and see what happens. Much better. See how it reacts. Okay, same here. Although I do notice that there is a bit of dark right in the center, which I have to then lighten up on. There. Okay. May even have to lift a little bit now that I've brought in that dark. Okay, so we'll have to leave that for a while again because it's time consuming and it's going to have to continue all the way up without losing all that nice light. And we're back after much detailed work that I did. I had applied several different colors on the background. They were very choppy and it wasn't well done because it wasn't wet on wet. So after having let everything dry, I went back in and applied water and smoothed it all out. But in some cases, I actually lifted a little too much, so I need to go back in now and reapply. For example, I would come in here and put some water in and get these wet again. And the other thing I did do was I took out the amount of masking fluid that was on that I had shown at the very beginning. And so you can see some of the whites that are in here now from that masking fluid. So I'm applying another coat of my burnt orange with my Perylene green. And I'm coming back in and seeing if I can just darken all this up a bit more. Now because I applied water, I should have it just mixing all together and going right around that watered area. And I shouldn't have to go in and do a lot of detailed work. However, it's important to push it around and make sure it does go into some of these small lines here. Because that was one of the things that was affecting me, was I wasn't getting the correct edges. Everything was kind of half done. So I'll come back in here. Now I'm just going to look closer at my picture here so I can see where I really need to do the appropriate shadowing. Because again, I took a lot of this out, so this could use a little bit more darks in this area here. Up above here too. And even a little bit on the left, a little bit more. And then we'll fill in a little bit in here. Okay, now if we come to the left here, I added this other set of branches in. So now I need to fill in. I haven't wet on wet here, I'm just applying more color. Okay. So again, I'm not following my own ink process. I need to add water on first, and then the paint. And get that in there properly. It's a very hot day, so what's happening is it's drying so quickly. It's amazing. I can leave this puddle of water, and within seconds it's going to be absorbed into the paper. Okay, I'm going to apply a little bit more water here again. Adding in more of the burnt orange as opposed to the mix, because I think it's already dark enough. I wanted a warmer earth tone here. So we have quite a bit of dark in here, so now I need to think about where else I'm putting in extra darks. So I'm going to now just use Perylene green for a bit and pick up some of the dark extras in here. I had put some burnt umber in here, or pardon me, burnt orange in here. Just going to reapply now. Just Perylene green. I'm using a dagger brush now as well, hoping that that will also help, because I can get a very good tip and into closer to the little objects than I was before. My Petit Gris, which I would have been using, is also great with the tip, but what I was finding was it was I didn't clean it enough, and therefore I was not getting quite close enough to the edges as I expected I was. So with the Cosmo spin dagger that I've got right now, I have good control of paint, and it's a little bit more synthetic, because the other is not synthetic. It is, and so of course it has more mop tendency, it has more color. Water mixed in with the color so much more easily because it's a quill. Here I'm ending up with more just pigment. Okay. So I need to think now where my shadows are the most effective. And if I wanted to really stand out properly, I need to basically clean my brush, just add a bit of water to spread, so it's dark in the one area and then the rest is just a softening of the whole process. I'm trying now to look to see where I need to add more depth. Going back to my greens, and I'm now going to, I had put a lot of Cobalt turquoise on those two, where I had originally put Terre, Vert, and Chromium dioxide. Going back in with a little bit more Terre, Vert, because I want to pick up a few little changes in color here. Come back over here where I had the brown. There's even a bit of a line along here at the edge of the leaf as it comes up. Just trying to see how much detail I want. Because as soon as I start adding that detail without softening it, it just doesn't look right. It's almost like I need to do more lifting, you know, applying the color and then lifting over top. Because I cannot get it to look effective. Okay, we're going to let that dry, and we're going to work now on here where this is way too strong here. And again, there's a bit of a vein and some other veins in there too. Maybe because it's the veins that are too strong, because it's more shadow around the veins that I'm trying to achieve. Let's lift some of that with tissue. I had two pocket packs here. They're here somewhere. I just have to find it. Lift them a bit more. Okay, once again, I have the dagger. Once again, I'm going to try with a little bit. I'm going to now pre-mix it, because I'm obviously getting too much in the wrong places. I want some in here, and a little bit on the other side. Actually, there's more on the other side here than I realized. Okay. which means I need to bring in a little bit more in here. My biggest issue is I do not want to lose all my nice light colors, because otherwise it's just going to go right back into the problem I had before. So again, trying to look at where my shadows are. Going to go back for a little bit more cobalt turquoise, because I like how that just shows up and pops everything nicely. So I'm going to use it as my go-to for my shadow. Now it's just a bit of dry brushing, and just continue just dry brushing a bit around. I'd like to see a little bit more in here. Definitely more shadow right on the tips there. Okay. Here it's lighter. Here it's really light, so I'll just add a bit on the edge. Okay. So I'm happy with the way the turquoise is popping up. That to me is looking a bit better. So I think I'd like to see more of the chromium on this side. Although the coloring is good right now, where I just want to see it is a little bit more where I've got some of the white lines here. Just on the inside of the white lines are a little bit pops of shadow, so I have to let that kind of dry, and then I think come back in and just soften up everything. Maybe I can do that now. That chromium is quite heavy if you're not careful. bit more dark there. Darken here. Again, just trying to soften. Definitely need some shadow underneath there. Okay, so that's coming out. And this, it could be definitely just more chromium. We're going to try some olive green in here, because I just want that little bit of different tone. The chromium has a bit of the lighter blue in there, creamy blue. Let's see what the olive green does here. It's actually more tied in with these leaves, actually. Gives that hint of a little bit more yellowish olivey color. Even over here, I would apply better there. And anywhere else I can see would be a little bit under here, but I don't think you can even see it. These are too light. They're actually just the right light already. Now, I could, let's just see here. I took a little olive green really, really, really lightly. Let's just try that. Just a little bit more here. And then it's really a very warm Aureolin, actually. So let's try a little bit of a more Aureolin here. This is Aureolin Yellow. Yeah. Now we're getting that feeling. Okay, so if that's the case, we need some more Aureolin in here. Could use even a little bit more there. Pop that out a bit more. It does go into a bit of green here, so I will just pop in. Good question. Hooker's Green Deep. That looks okay. And there's actually some of that just in between here. So, I gotta get a darker color, Perylene, to pop it in. There we go. needs a bit of shadow in between the leaves. And here too, it's not dark enough. Have to soften that now. So I just have to push the water the opposite way because I do not want it kind of claiming all of the rest of the color, right? So I'm either having to brush it off or push it so it doesn't claim everything. Let's see, how's that looking? That's looking fairly good, actually. Okay, so what I think on the top there, I need some more Aureolin here. Oh yeah, I like that. A little bit more in the leaf there, a little bit more on the leaves here. Question is, where can I pop it? Because it's tending to be more on that side, so maybe we can pop it just on the top here. A little bit on their stem. Oh, a little bit on the leaves down below, right down here. That'll help. Trying to pull the eye around. So I was adding, I just kind of made this one up. So what I'll do is I'll add a little bit more yellow up on this side here. That's good. I'm going to bring in some more Perylene green here. I can't quite see that. To really just sharpen those up a bit. Okay, so we're missing a little bit more darks in there. Don't have enough dark kind of where I'm expecting the leaves to be in there. So what I'm going to do is just use a burnt orange. Add a bit more up here. Add a bit more over here. I can even put it in here a bit. Oh, how about there? A little bit more permanent rose, I think, there. Yeah. Put a little bit there. Just want to get a little bit in there. A little bit in here, too. That's nice. Just looking at the upper here. Get a little bit more in there. Would that be nice? Just rubbing it in a little bit to get it into the background a bit more. Oh yeah, I like that. So I'll do the same on the bottom corner here. If you can see it, I'm just popping in some more red. Red is a very good complement to greens, and so this way I can hopefully have it popping out a bit more. Those berries should be more turquoise. Okay. And let's get some of these berries a little bit more turquoise too. This was actually a little darker. I'm going to go with the, just looking back at the, and there's even actually a few little dots on these berries where the edge of the seed is. Add a bit of that. Darken some of those stems that I just added. Okay, and now where was I? Oh yeah, here, just a little dark right in there, and just a little dark right on the other side. Here there's actually two leaves. One needs to be a bit darker. And another leaf that's just over here needs a bit of darkening. On this one, it's actually on this side. On this one, it's kind of in between. Okay, and there is actually a little bit over on this way. And I'm just looking here at the stem. Guess what? The stem I can do red too. I like that. Oops, that's maybe too much. So where is the red stem going to be that I need to add here a bit more? Cool. Okay, and on the other side, we see it. We see it just a little bit in between the edges there. Okay, and down here definitely. Oh, now we're picking up some nice colors. Okay, there was one down below here. And I'm just seeing here, up above here, there's one up there too. Right in there. I think I'll just fill in that a little bit more red. Let's have a look here now. We have a bit of dark, well, we have a good chunk of dark in some of these areas here. I don't want the whole thing dark. Although saying that, if I can get it a little darker on the base, I might be better off. So let's add a little bit more shadows in here. I'm just using Perylene green. Try and get that extra green in there. And the darkness. And what I'd like to do is add a little bit more of the burnt orange on this side over here where I have, oh, maybe a little bit in here too. Now what I don't see is a good definition of the leaves here. So I'm missing some dark right in there. Because it's supposed to go here, a little bit along here, and actually break up here. And here. And here, not so much. just looking at a little bit of dark features that we still need to have a bit more of. Yeah, it certainly has come together better than it was. Let me just raise the camera just a bit more. So you can kind of see the whole thing. Yeah, I think for this project, for this event, now that I've had a chance to finish it here, I think that's what I'll leave it. I'm looking for something really dark to paint my signature with. I'm just going to get some permanent Payne's Gray. Just getting some dark Payne's Gray here, and I'm going to sign off here, I think. And leave it that way. Yeah. Not going to do any more. Alright, well thank you for following along on the journey here with my Oregon grape. I've learned a lot of things. Number one, I wouldn't use so many different colors for the greens. I would really think I'd focus on 5 greens and the burnt orange and the permanent rose, and then 2 yellows, my Hansa Yellow Light and the Aureolin. And then for the greens, I would definitely use the Cobalt turquoise, olive green, or you could use a Quinacridone green gold. Next time I would try that, and I would substitute that for any of the Aureolin. The Terre Vert I prefer over the Chromium. The Terre Vert was on this side, the Chromium is on this side. I can use the olive green or my green gold better, I think. I definitely want my Perylene, but I have to use my Perylene closer to the end, because what happens is there's so much black in it, it's considered a black, that it's graying out a lot of the textures that I want on the leaves. So I'll have to consider that. And then I have to really think about how much detail I want in each of these leaves. I wanted to focus on these nice berries, but they got lost here, so they should have been over here a little bit more, and I should have been more careful about how I left the whites and stuff in them. And I will do that next time around. Alright, thank you for following along on the journey with me.